Hi everyone, it's Roger here from What's On at DisneyPlus.com. It's time for the weekly live Q&A. So big hello and welcome to everyone in the live chat. You can see we've got Caleb Bubba trolling and we've also got Keenan in there. So big hello and welcome to all of you. So each and every week I answer questions from our community, from Patreon and YouTube channel members. They've been able to submit them in advance. Plus also YouTube channel members can join in live and put in their questions. Also, if you are watching, you can also become a member, and it really helps support the website and everything I do. It really does mean a lot because generally the last this year really with Google has been a pain in the butt. And also, you can send in super chat functions as well, just super chat, super thanks, send in your questions and stuff, all of which makes a massive, massive difference. So again, a big thank you to everyone for your support. We've also got poll going on right now of what do you hope to see revealed at D23. Anyone can vote. You don't have to be a member to do that. What are you looking to see revealed at D23? Wonder Man, Shang-Chi, Acolyte, or the Win or Lose trailer. Those just, I literally picked them out as maybe things that could get revealed. I could be completely wrong. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff. Next weekend is going to be D23, the Ultimate Fan Event, which is taking place in Anaheim in California. On the Friday night, there is going to be a showcase panel. So I'm going to be staying up. It starts at like 2-3 o'clock in the morning, my time. So I'm going to be having a I don't know if I'm going to have a nap before I do it, because I did that with San Diego Comic-Con. I had like a 3-4 hour nap before it, got up for a couple hours, and then went back to bed when it was all kind of done. Depends on what the news is doing. But yeah, so that's the plan for that one. Live stream next Sunday will be as planned. And whether or not, I don't know whether or not on Saturday, if it's going to be a live stream to go over the major news, or if I will do it as a recorded video. Depends how tired I am, because that's going to be the thing, and how much news there is. Because next week's panel is going to be interesting. So we might as well get into it. Now I did do a video early in the week where I did do my predictions, and I ran through some. There's a few there that I kind of missed out. But generally, I also want to know your predictions. So if you're in the live chat, or if you're on Super Chat or anything like that, let me know your things, because I'll be pulling them out, because I'd love to hear your thoughts on what you want to what you think is going to be predicted. So there are some things that I do want to briefly, and I think I must have knocked my not on camera while I was cleaning. So getting back to like predictions and stuff, I think there's something that I think a lot of us need to take into consideration. And it's something I have continued to highlight as a thing for this one. So it's a 2-hour presentation happening on Friday at the Honda Center. So they have hired out a huge arena. So it means that thousands more people can go see it live. So when they've got all the people there, and there'll be a buzz in that room. It'll be amazing. I wish I was there. I should have been flying out on Tuesday. Decided eventually that it wasn't probably going to be financial sense to go. And because and this is the honest thing, I'm pretty sure 60% of this panel was actually at the last D23, and that's kind of the real disappointing thing. And I can't quite, and I'm kind of at this point with this presentation where I'm setting my expectations very, very low, because so much stuff has been delayed from when the last D23 happened, because of the strikes and because of just Bob Chapek disappearing, and then Iger coming back, and Disney and Marvel slowing everything down. When we were going into the D23 2 years ago, which I, completely one of my like bucket lists of my life of kind of going to that event. It was an amazing event. At the time, we were seeing about 3 to 4 Marvel movies being released a year. We were seeing 5 live action series were supposed to come out that year. We were seeing animated shows. We were having 3 Star Wars shows a year. We were having multiple Disney Plus originals. Disney Plus is in such a different place. It is such a different place to where we are, and so many films and shows that were kind of highlighted at that event haven't come out yet. So there's going to make more sense for them to promote it. There are probably going to be some surprises, and there's going to be some announcements, because I think there will be. But there's also another problem as well. There's actually a few. First off, it's a 2-hour presentation. 2 hours. That's all they've got. So if you think of like the San Diego Comic-Con that was last week, that was, I think, just under an hour and a half. And they talked about 3 movies and 2 other movies. So they talked about 5 movies in an hour and a half. Now, they're going to have to run through these stuff. And also, they are dealing with Marvel, Star Wars, Disney, Pixar, 20th Century, and Disney itself. So there's a lot of stuff to go through. At D23 last time, they had 3 separate 2-hour-plus presentations. You instantly see they went from 6, it was probably close to 6 or 7 or 8 hours of presentation last time, to a 2-hour presentation. And in that 2-hour presentation, they're also going to be highlighting like in-person musical events. I don't know if it's going to be like a Broadway show or something that's going to be on the road in America. So there's even less time. There's going to be some musical elements in there as well. This is also, Disney needs to spread out those announcements, because they can't announce everything at these events because they'll have nothing left, because they're just releasing a lot less. Also, they're just releasing a lot less. There's just that kind of feeling of it's just that kind of way. So this was like one of the questions. Keenan did ask, what was your last minute predictions? So there was a few things that got highlighted that I kind of maybe forgot, or kind of forgot about during it. So there was one here. Keenan says is predicting the Lilo and Stitch trailer. I do think we could probably get a teaser trailer for that one. Snow White as well. I think there will be a teaser trailer for that one. And we do have the quarterly results on Wednesday. Now, they are doing it earlier in the day, which is great for me. The thing is really is the quarterly is really where we find out about the business element. It's not really where they tend to announce movies or anything like that. They only do it that really when kind of, something's hit the fan. So with D23 coming up, they're probably not going to announce anything sure, but that would be like when they would maybe want to announce the password sharing thing is coming into effect. Some of the details on that. They'll talk about the bundle with Max. They'll talk about the launch of Venue. They'll probably talk a little bit, maybe give us an update on the ESPN hub. They'll give us something, but at the same time, they're going to be hyping D23 like something chronic, and also success of Deadpool and Wolverine. So that's that one. Matt says there are 11 film and TV projects. Yeah, your comment was really good, Matt. And it like I said, it did highlight just how much stuff from D23 did get delayed, of why 11 projects that they were promoted at D23 still haven't come out. There's your presentation right there. That could be the entire 2-hour presentation, and that could be it. Matt says, I expect the main excitement at the entertainment showcase will be for the attendees getting to see exclusive footage rather than a reveal of a few projects, since they're having to catch up. I think that's it. I do think we are going to get some teaser trailers. I think we're probably likely to get like Agatha. I think we'll get Snow White, maybe Lilo and Stitch, something along those lines. Hi, Noxwave. I think we will get some teaser trailers. It will be interesting if they live stream the event at all. There was talk back at an ad event earlier this year that was actually, they were going to live stream all of it. Noxo just says, I'm currently in California vacation. No need to rub it in. No need to rub it in. I was supposed to be going in there. I literally went on my calendar and it still states that I'm flying out on Tuesday. So yeah, let's see what other ones we got. I'm just going to stick on the prediction side. Kenneth says, my prediction for D23 is to announce stuff that's immediate and what's realistically coming soon. I know the move from the convention center means the surprises and so on. I think there will be some stuff. I think being in there in person means I think that's where they can bring in the big stars, and that will have a bigger impact. I think they have to, they might as well they are probably just going to focus on what's coming out over the next year or two. There is not a lot of point in going much beyond that. I do think that it would be good for them to give us the roadmap for Marvel and Star Wars, maybe for the next 2 to 3 years. So we've got a bit of a clearer idea. Maybe even just give us the Marvel rundown up to Secret Wars. I don't expect them to go beyond Secret Wars. I think they need to wait maybe 2 years until we get past that. I think we need to get that era over with before we start moving. We need to get this version over with. Knoxwave hoping we're getting Wonder Man or Ironheart. I do think Wonder Man will be officially announced, because officially We don't know anything about it. We don't even have a logo or anything. So I would imagine that Wonder Man will be one of the big announcements, because that's the only one of the few Marvel projects which we don't officially know about. So I'm just going to leave some of those other questions. I'll jump back into them in a minute. Right, let's carry on with some other questions. Tim says, will we get the trailer for Wizards Beyond Waverly Place at D23 this year? I don't think you're going to see that kind of thing during the actual entertainment showcase, because, again, that's a Disney branded television. I mean, doesn't look like there's any panels for Disney branded television. And again, I know they've only just started filming. They could do something, but it kind of, I mean, maybe if they got Selena Gomez comes out, that would be a big enough pop to get some excitement for it. But it doesn't feel like that's a big enough draw. To be perfectly honest, a Disney Channel show, if I was there for that 2-hour presentation, I would view a Disney Channel show like that as a kind of a misstep. I don't think that's a good thing. If you had a 2-hour Disney branded television one like they did last time, where they talked about Percy Jackson and the High School Musical and all that kind of thing. But if you've got Marvel and Star Wars on the stage, the audience is probably not. I mean, like I said, the only difference is it's primarily a Disney audience, and they might get away with it, but I'm not sure. We've got 2 questions here. So Keenan says, Disney laid off 140 staff from National Geographic, ABC, and GMA. And Kenneth says, with Disney laying off people at the TV department, does this line up with Iger say there'll be cut to linear spending? So thoughts overall. Again, I did do a video, I think it was Friday, I did talk about this a little bit more in depth. Sucks for those involved. No point in sugarcoating it. It does suck. And those people that have lost their jobs, hopefully they can find something. But it's apparently just very, very hard in Hollywood right now. The strikes have really just... I would say it was a catalyst of, and it wasn't necessarily the strikes caused it, but that was the end of the bubble. That was a bit of a, where, the studios have all cut back, and lots of reports on the big sites and stuff talking about how, it just hasn't come back. It just hasn't come. And I do think, unfortunately, this was going to happen, but also more importantly, the shift to linear shift to streaming from linear is going to cause some job losses. Now, hopefully most of them can get moved over to different platforms, but the simple truth is you do not need as many members of staff doing streaming as they do for linear television. And also, I do think this is probably more interconnected with the idea that when some of these carriage disputes come up, I think we're going to see some of those channels disappear, and they might just not need as many people and as many shows and stuff. Let's say take Nat Geo. If they go from 3 channels down to 1, or if Freeform doesn't get picked up by some other networks, it's just not going to exist. And I think that kind of hits on everything. Basil says, do you think Disney should stop making originals, not counting the Marvel Star Wars Star stuff completely? There is no point for them to exist if they don't even bother to promote them properly. Okay, so two ways of looking at this. First off, promoting it. Let's do that one. We're in a really weird stage, and I've seen a lot of this. I saw it a little bit with Renegade Nell, where the people were talking about the fact that they haven't promoted this. They haven't promoted it. And I'm like, right, what kind of advertising campaign do you think works nowadays? Now, for Renegade Nell here in the UK, it was a little bit different. There was kind of mainstream media on the radio, on TV, etc. But putting, signs on buses and putting stuff on the radio and putting things on TV and putting things in magazines, running Google ads, on websites and YouTube trailers and all this kind of stuff, it all costs money. And, they spend a fortune on advertising these things. And unfortunately, for a lot of these shows, they do not have the budget to do $100 million advertising. So if you think of what they've done for Deadpool and Wolverine, that'll be the top level of what they do for advertising, and it's been incredible. I mean, Ryan and Hugh have been turning up on every kind of YouTube channel doing hot ones, cooking with Gordon Ramsay, all kinds of crazy stuff. I saw one they were with puppies, and they're not doing your typical Zoom call now with websites and stuff. They're going on to find the audience to get it out there. And the only one thing about this, I saw a lot of advertising for Renegade Nell. I just wasn't interested. And this is the thing, and I do feel like advertising on a whole is, we see so much of it that we just glaze past it. We don't see it. But advertising is vital. I couldn't do what I do without advertising. When you go on the website and there's an advert on the website, that's how I pay my bills. You know, when you're on this YouTube channel and you see ads, that's how I pay my mortgage. And how I buy my food and stuff. Without the advertising, I couldn't do what I do. And that is what it's all like. And we are going back to seeing a lot more advertising on TV and stuff, because ultimately the idea of paying $6-7 a month for as much streaming as you could get through Netflix or one platform was completely unsustainable and unrealistic, because that was all very fine while cable was basically, and theatrical were propping up the studios, and streaming was just this little thing on the side. Well, now streaming has to be the main one. That has to there's not enough subscribers to warrant it. So I do think promoting is a little bit of a trouble. I think some stuff I do think they could promote more. I mean, I think there's like promote some shows. It literally feels like I get a press release, there's a poster, there's a couple of posts on social media, and that's it. And I'm like, that's it. You know, and also Disney have drastically cut back on how much they're advertising. You know, they aren't. I can see it from my end, because obviously they, you know, dealing with the PR side of things. There's just a lot less that they're doing. You know, they're doing less interviews, they're doing less premieres, they're doing less screenings, they're just doing less events. They are promoting a lot less to save money. And that's the honest truth for it. I think they're just trying to cut back their costs. Netflix doesn't promote anything. If it's good, it will get going, and if it's not, it won't. And I think that's we're kind of in that era where, and I just don't know if advertising will cut through the noise on social media. There's just so much stuff on there, and I see people go, I didn't see it, and then you get other people that I've seen so many people go, I'm getting ads before Disney Plus, and I don't have the ad version. No, you get a trailer. Again, those little bumps before you watch a show or a movie telling you what's out is a really good way of trying to boost a little bit of engagement, to try and grab your attention. So if you sit down to watch the latest episode of The Kardashians and there's a little bump at the beginning telling you to, you know, advertising the bear, that's good. I do think they could do with doing better of the algorithm could work out like, you have watched the bear, so I'm not going to try and advertise it to you. I'm a bit like, yeah, I don't need to see the advert for the bear. I've seen it. I don't need to be advertised it. But also in terms of like making originals, they ain't making a lot. And they have drastically cut back. And you can really see now that Disney Channel makes stuff that goes out onto Disney Channel. Nat Geo puts it out on the channel and puts it out on Disney Plus. You can see that they've realized now that if they are making a show or a movie, they want it to get out to as many people as possible to make as much money as possible. Originals, in some ways, don't make like Netflix or Netflix originals. Well, yeah, but they've got no linear channel. They don't put it out in cinemas. Disney have different options and stuff. I think it's not, and I don't think it's right that, you know, like they could put things on Disney Channel and they put Disney Plus, and both people that are paying for it can see it. Let's jump now into the live chat. Let's see what we've got here. Speaking of advertising, which brands do you associate with Halloween and which brands do you associate with Christmas? I ask, since many shows have sponsors and they can synergize for the holiday. So Halloween, I would probably say candy. So like usually like for me, like when you walk into the supermarket around that time, you know, you've got maybe M&M's, peanut Reese's, that kind of thing. A lot of it American stuff. There's not here in the UK, Halloween is not really a big thing. It's not a big you know, they'll have a little aisle in the supermarket, but it's most of us just turn the lights off and forget and try and hide, and hopefully everyone leaves us alone. And I say that the majority, because you look up the street on Halloween and you'll only see a few people with like pumpkins and stuff. It's not a big thing here in the UK. Christmas is difficult because I think every single, I mean, I would say like the supermarkets go crazy on advertising, Coca-Cola, and the holidays are coming kind of thing. Yeah, I would say those would be the ones I'd probably go to first. Keenan says it's not just Disney Plus originals they're making, they're also focused on Disney Channel originals. Now, the thing is that they aren't, in some ways, the term original doesn't really matter anymore. It's the simple truth is they put a movie out and it goes to cinemas and it goes to digital and it goes to Disney Plus and it goes to wherever else. There's the concept of it being an original I mean, the thing is in some ways is if you said the word original essentially means if you said Disney Plus exclusive or that's, but they don't want to say exclusive because they want to have the options and stuff. But the simple truth is if you were to think of it as a Disney Plus original, it's supposed to be a Disney Plus exclusive. That doesn't mean anything anymore because they want to put it out on linear. They want to put it out in cinemas. Yeah, I don't think that's going to work. Matt says, do you think Disney is done with Disney Plus Day, not having one in 2023? Maybe not to coincide with D23 this year. Seems to give off that impression. Maybe it's no longer line up with their plans. So I don't think there's going to be a D23 or Disney Plus Day. Third, I think there's a couple of reasons for this. First off, I think it was a Chapek thing, and Iger doesn't like doing it. And I also think as well is they did it for a couple of years, and the question is, and we don't know, but what was the sign-up rates? How much did it improve engagement? Did it help get people signed up? If it didn't fulfill either of them, that's not good. How much did it cost to pod? So you remember those years of they were putting out 3 or 4 original, like 6 originals and a couple of movies? That's 3 months worth of entertainment now. maybe that's probably more than actually. I think on one Disney Plus day, that's probably maybe nearly 6 months of original releases now. So they haven't got the content to spend to drop that many things at once. Also, I actually do think a Disney Plus day is a really cool idea with like when you do something on the Disney Cruise Line and some core synergy and the theme parks, they all go blue. And we all get little, and they were giving out the hats because that's what I got. These ones, I got that one from where is it? That one there. That hat got at Disneyland for D23 for Disney Plus Day. It was great, but also how much does giving away all those hats cost? Because they gave away thousands of them. Yeah, and also as well, I think they set the problem as well as people then if they say they do a Disney Plus Day on, I don't know, let's just pick random day, January the 1st. The problem is with Disney Plus Day is people online are now expecting there to be a big presentation full of movies and shows that are going to be coming to the platform. They haven't got them. They don't want it. They don't want to do a presentation. They don't want to do that. They don't want to, and they don't want to do Twitter announcements and they haven't got enough stuff. They also, it's like doing a promotion. They could do a Disney Plus Day and like, okay, we're going to give it to you for $4.99 a month. But do they really want to do that promotion? I think it's a good idea. But I can also see why it's just not a good idea. Let's do a poll on that one, actually. Let's end that one there. I'm going to end that poll. We'll do another one. And again, everyone can do this one. Do you think they'll do another D Plus Day? Yes or no? And also, as well as a lot of people they throw around the date for like November. I think I can't think of it. November the 9th, I think, or whatever it was. The problem is with that is that date doesn't work in globally because Disney Plus is launched in like 120 plus countries and they've all had it on different dates. So an anniversary date doesn't really work. And also the anniversary date of the launch in like the US also doesn't correspond with the release date in like the Netherlands and stuff. So it's very difficult. Let's see. I'm just going to carry on with doing a few of the pre-done questions, and I'll just jump back into doing some more live ones. Babak says, Marvel Studios announced 2 untitled movies slated for release in 2026 and 2 in 2027. What do you think these unnamed projects are? Off the top of my head, no idea what it is or anything. Doctor Strange sequel, Thor sequel, Shang-Chi sequel. Yeah, I think that might be it. Yeah, I think if I was to guess, those would be what I think we'll get. Because I think they'll want to go back to some of the core big characters. And I think Thor, Doctor Strange, and Shang-Chi will be the ones I think they might be. Do you think we did that one, didn't we? Yeah, we did that one. Mama says, I noticed that Disney added all the movies from the Neon that were missing on Disney Plus. Do you think Disney extended their deal with Neon to include Disney Plus? They might not necessarily have extended the deal. They might have negotiated that they can put it onto Disney Plus. There's been that little bit of an issue with a lot of the movies that came when they did the deal that they didn't necessarily include it. They might have just negotiated that to be included in it, not necessarily extended it. Dana says, with Blade, Elektra, and Human Torch in Deadpool, do you think Marvel will consider the first two FF, Daredevil, Elektra, and Blade movies, or at least canon in the MCU? No, because they didn't happen in the sacred timeline. They happened in the multiverse. And so therefore, they will just exist within the multiverse along with the X-Men movies and the Spider-Man movies. So they're not canon in that way that they exist. They've acknowledged they've existed. And in some ways, I think we're actually getting a little bit of they are going to do Secret Wars as a way of like tidying all of this stuff up. So all those movies and shows from the past all did exist. They all were part of a multiverse. And that's their kind of legal, that's going to be their technical way of getting around it for the rest of their existence. Are there rumors? There are rumors of the Hulk versus Wolverine movie. Do you think that will happen? I think they did tease it. It would be great to see it. I think it would be a great little thing to have. I don't think they can actually add Hulk to the title unless they've sorted out whatever it is with the deal, because Hulk can't be in a solo movie with his name in it. They might have sorted out the deal now. It might have expired, but they might have to call it something else. It'd be cool if they did, but also I don't know if I'd rather they did like World War Hulk or something like that. I don't think just doing Wolverine versus Hulk is really going to work. Frog in my throat today. Tim says, do you know why there's a lot of ESPN docs from the 2010s released on Disney Plus in Australia and New Zealand this way? This was interesting. I did spot this as well. I honestly think we are going to see an ESPN hub launching for most of the world. Some countries might not be able to have it. But I think we're going to end up with that hub turning up. And I think that's probably part of it. Because I know in Australia, there's a little bit of a difference there with some licensing and stuff. Keenan says, what does everyone think of the Paris Summer Olympics so far? Let me know in the comments. What do you think of the Olympics? I'm not going to lie. I heard someone was sick when they got out the pool, out the river. That's as far as I know. I haven't followed the Global Sports Day in any interest at all. Kelly says, Warner Brothers announced that Boomerang streaming service was shut down on the 30th and customers will automatically migrated to Max. Could you see something similar happening with Disney when they merge with Hulu? Yeah, so this will probably actually be, I think this is a story I'll cover a little bit more for tomorrow's podcast. But yeah, they're closing it down. I mean, it makes sense. It doesn't make any sense to keep it as a separate platform. Extra cost in running it, extra cost for staff, extra cost. It's just extra cost. Bump it in with Max and don't need to run it anymore. I think, yeah. And it's probably, the question is how many people are subscribed. So yeah, they are being migrated over to Max, probably for a limited time while their subscriptions are still active. I think Hulu's a little bit weirder because they've got a couple of issues there was a few issues that they need to fix. Obviously not just Comcast, but they've got to fix the add-ons like Max and Showtime, all those kind of things of how they work, and also the live element. I would love them to kind of do the full announcement that they have. I mean, I love that on Wednesday if they could just be like, right, we've sorted out Comcast, we now own it, and in 2025 we will be officially merging Hulu into Disney Plus, and bing bada boom. I also think Hulu Live TV could be replaced with Venue Sports. That might be a way that they can get around it. I just don't see how these live, especially Hulu Live TV, how much longer that as a product can continue to exist. But yeah, I think they'll get around it somehow. It's a lot easier with the merging the two because they've softly done it anyway. Because the thing is now is if they announce that today, most people would be like, yeah, that makes sense because you've all got used to seeing that Hulu logo. It's perfect. They are doing it perfectly to get to the point where when they do it, everyone will just be like, oh yeah, well, that makes sense. They should have done this a while ago. And there won't be any problems. Tim says, has there been any updates on the Tiana series? Next week could be a great week for it to have an update on it. We didn't hear anything at the Annecy Film Festival. They did do a little tease at a event recently for the opening of the ride at Walt Disney World, and they did put the logo up and say it's coming soon, but coming soon could be anytime. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't even be surprised if they gave it a little bit of a tease actually in the theme park presentation. I'm not staying up for that one. I'm going to watch that in the morning. I know it's going to be a lot of fun, but I can't do 2 nights staying up to 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm too old for that. Bowser said, with their latest theatrical releases doing very well so far, do you think Disney is back right on track? I would definitely say that the last few months for Disney, there is probably a lot of big reliefs and big whoo, because the releases of the theatrical releases this year will have helped get rid of the constant bad. Nothing gets rid of negativity like success. And there's obviously that there's going to be some ones that aren't going to do so well, but Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes did pretty good. Didn't do amazing. Wasn't like a blowout movie, but it did good. It was solid. It did well, and everyone liked the movie. Most people did. We were going to watch today, but instead I rented Godzilla versus Kong: The New Empire. I really enjoyed that movie. Absolutely loved it. And it's that kind of thing of, Inside Out 2 and Deadpool and Wolverine are huge successes, and that will just help the morale at the company to be along the lines of they can put out wins. They can put out, I think Deadpool and Wolverine is already at 850 million, so it's going to hit $1 billion easily. There is just going to be that relief. There's going to be that process that what their plan is to rejig to focus on quality is working, to put out less is working. And I think we are going to see that. I think what we are seeing now is what came into effect a long time ago, where they are focused on, they're just focused on quality. And I think we're seeing that. I think they are trying to avoid any political issues of trying to be like, right, let's just try and please everybody and try and, I think they have pulled back on some things to try. I mean, Deadpool and Wolverine, very different, but it'll be interesting to see how Alien Romulus does. But again, the budget on this film is so much lower. It doesn't have to do $1 billion. I think if it does 500 million like Planet of the Apes, it'll be a huge success, and it's fine for that movie. Not everything has to be $1 billion movie, but if it does well, that's good. I think Moana 2 will do well as well. I think they have, and I don't know about Mufasa. I'm still a little bit I'm not sure how that one's going to go, but wins are going to help, and I think it's just helping. It's also hard for, I mean, there are some that will still continue to nitpick at every single thing that they do that they're dreadful at and they're awful at. But winning does help. And I think that is going to have a big impact. Right. So that's all our pre-done questions. So now we're going to be live for the rest of the show. So feel free to send in your questions. Feel free to send in your super chats, etc. I'm going to go to the top and just work my way down. If you've got any live ones, feel free to put them in. Matt says there is going to be a panel called Tiana's World on Sunday, and it mentions that the Tiana series director will be there. So it sounds like there could be updates. Yeah, I think that's more likely going to be the sense. My plan is for this weekend, I'm working the whole weekend. Normally, I try and have Sundays. I say off. I do still usually end up working for 3-4 hours, but next weekend I'm working, and I think we will see. I think we'll get an update. Whether or not it's an update of what we like, it might just be a few new images, a little bit of an update that it is still happening and stuff like that. But I think it's still coming. I don't think it's coming this year. I think it'll be next year. Keenan says, I'm sure Inside Out 2 was the biggest comeback. It really was. I think the win that the company needed. I think it was a win on so many levels. Pixar was it just really able to just help push the fact that focusing on quality, making things better, doing stuff that doesn't necessarily alienate any viewers, making things a little bit safer and vanilla will work. I mean, it kind of, you could say the exact opposite for Deadpool and Wolverine, but the simple truth is you make something for a mainstream audience, they're much more likely to, and Disney just have to get through all this. And they had a real bumpy few years, and it does feel a lot more positive in that way that, the stuff that is coming out has been good. I mean, there has been some bumps. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. Acolyte and Echo, while I enjoyed Echo and I didn't mind most of Acolyte, it wasn't perfect. That show came under a lot of those shows came under a lot of criticism, but there were shows that were made before the drop off. Yeah, I think there's a big difference. Inside Out earned $1 billion. It has an amazing. It was good. I enjoyed it. I still think the first one was better. Keenan says, "Did you think SummerSlam was good?" I watched all the clips this morning. I decided not to. I stopped with WWE Network just because in January I can have it through Netflix, but also WWE are giving away so much on YouTube that I nearly saw most of it already. I enjoyed it. I thought the return of Roman was good. I think the right people won. Keenan says, I thought SummerSlam was fine. Happy that LA Knight won. It's a bit silly with him taking a punch with the knuckles, and he didn't really sell it. He just went straight into the his finishing move. I would have liked a little bit more tension in that, maybe a kick out and then do the move. That would have been a bit better. Sad that Nia Jax won the title. I'm the opposite. I think that was good. I think that would play up a little bit more with Tiffy, and I don't think Bayley's been that great since she's been champion. And one thing for sure is Gunther is winning certainly means there's going to be a lot of meat slapping. Yeah, this is great. And I do wonder if they're going to set this up for Sami. I think that's Sami Zayn. I think that's what I think is going to be the thing with Gunther. I think that's where they might go. We did that one. Kelly said, I also heard that Boomerang merging with Max. I know it's a streamer and not a linear channel. Although Luke said, I wouldn't be surprised if the channel shuts down. Yeah, I mean, I think the trouble is with kids shows is, especially kids channels, is kids aren't watching linear television in high enough numbers to warrant the costs of it. Kids don't watch TV and aren't appointment viewing. They're not sitting down at 5:30 to watch, Scooby-Doo. They're going to go on and just stream it. I think some of the channels that have been working are ones aimed more at adults that are sitting down at to watch stuff in the evening and so on. But kids TV channels that they got hit hard. And I think Disney Channel, like in the US, etc., I think there's probably a prestige factor and almost like a thing of we are not giving it up. We are not giving. They'll just cling on to it to the very end. Let's see what else we've got here. Agree with Matt. There was too much from the last D23 and so many projects got delayed. Do you think that when Boomerang closes down, that Discovery Plus is more likely to close down and merge with Max? I'm surprised they didn't do that with Discovery Plus, but I think a lot of that was down to Discovery Plus was profitable and they didn't want to lose anybody going over to it because it was a bit more expensive one. But I could see them doing it eventually. Honestly, Matt says, I think there's a lot of excitement experience to showcase since there's a lot less lingering projects from the last D23 and how they might want to respond to Epic Universe. So I think there's this kind of weird thing with a lot of this idea about Disney responding to Epic Universe. And obviously we know we had the pandemic and all the rest of it and trying to cut the costs down. But the idea of them competing with Epic Universe by spending billions and billions of dollars on creating a brand new theme park or adding new attractions doesn't actually really isn't actually beneficial right now. It's more likely going to be helpful in a few years' time, and this is why they have to probably come out quite big now. The simple truth is, Epic Universe is going to pull in a huge amount of audience into Orlando for the next few years. I know me and my friends and my wife, we're planning on going in 2 years' time, and yeah, Epic Universe is like, yeah, I said straight off the bat, yeah, well, when we go, I want to do Epic Universe. I'm doing a day there. That's baked in. But you're still going to be in Orlando. You're still going to do the Disney parks. You're just going to do one less day somewhere else. And that could be a 1 day less at Disney, or 1 day less at Universal, or 1 day less at SeaWorld, or NASA, or the theme parks, or Busch Gardens, or whatever else that you do. And obviously, when Brits go to Florida, we tend to go for like a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks. We don't just go for like a weekend. So now I think Americans are like, oh, I could go to Universal for the weekend or a long weekend. There's just going to be more people going into Orlando. So that's good for Disney regardless. So they need to have stuff coming in lately. And I think there was a lot of changes and stuff that happened. So Keenan says, when I went to Orlando, we only did Disney parks and Disney Springs. The question is, Keenan, how long did you go for? That's not actually, I will put that out to all of you guys. When you last went to Orlando, how many days did you go for? Because I'd love to know, kind of, again, from a different American aspect. Because the last 3 times I went for 2 weeks. So that's kind of, because like if you're flying all that way, it just makes sense to do it. And Disney will give you a 14-day theme park pass for the price of a 7-day pass. But yeah, so I think there's going to be a lot of theme park announcements, because they've not really made any other, all that stuff that they said at last year's or 2 years ago, D23. Nothing's happened. Nothing, hardly any of it has actually happened. I do think, and there's no point in sugarcoating the fact that the political situation in Orlando and in Florida, I think, basically put every development on hold on that park until it was solved. I think once they got into that problem, I think every major problem got paused. Every major thing got paused until they sorted it out, because I don't think they were willing to invest any money while there were still problems going on. And I actually think that's what's caused a lot of the problems for like the major announcements and stuff. And the building in Orlando was because of that entire mess with the governor of him trying to get in to be a presidential candidate. And he picked a fight, and it worked. I mean, he made a lot of noise. Well, I say it worked. It got him on the grand stage. It got what he needed to do, but in the long run, it didn't work. But and I think fundamentally Disney are worse off from it, and I don't think the governor got anything out of it. But yeah, that was why I think Florida took a big thing. And also, I do remember having a very, very nice couple of cakes that they gave us little boxes for at the thing. There's a new cake shop that was going to be opening up in Disney Springs. It still hasn't opened up. Right. So yeah. So Keenan said 4 days, 5 nights. Yeah. See, if you're only if you've only got 5 days in Orlando, I can see why you either got to put Disney or Universal, because you're going to want to get a pass. And I mean, I go to both. It's not a case of either or. I mean, I do tend to do all the Disney stuff more because, I like this 4 parks, and you've got the water parks as well. But we always would go to at least 2 days at Universal. So I've never it was never been a case of or, it was always and. We always went to both. Kayla said, floating around of Aerosmith, of rebranding. Well, there's been talk of this for a number of years. There was talk recently, I think Muppets Mayhem was going to get turning into Muppets. Obviously, I do think with Aerosmith, they did announce this week that they're retiring because of his voice. Let's be honest. Do many kids now know who Aerosmith are? They're not exactly the most trendiest ones. I mean, here in Paris, they rethemed it to Marvel, which obviously I don't think they can do because of the deal with Universal. So I do think retheming to the Muppets and getting rid of Aerosmith makes a lot of sense. And Matt says it takes about 5 years to build one new attraction. It's taken them a long, long time. Let's see what else we've got here. Let's go through the questions, see what we've got. Bubba Trolling says, I think they'll announce X-Men Season 2. They already have. They announced that a year ago. They've also got a third season. There is going to be a Marvel animated panel on Saturday in the main Anaheim Convention Center. So what that would do is we will get some information about the animated series because they've got an hour presentation for it. So I wouldn't be surprised if we get a little bit some pictures and stuff. Knocked over. I think D23 announced so many projects because Bob Chapek was in charge. Yeah, that was the kind of the thing. What did it say here? Matt says, what streaming services will be around in 2025? Okay, so I definitely think Netflix, Amazon Prime, Disney Plus are definite shoo-ins. I think Peacock will still be around. I think Max will still be around next year. Paramount Plus is a little bit like... I actually cancelled my annual subscription today because I had remembered that I still had it set to renew in... Literally, I went to cancel it, and they turned... you can have it for 50% off for the year if you renew. I'm like, geez, like... They're that desperate to keep hold of their subscribers. You just go on there and say you want to quit, they'll give you 50% off right now. I mean, that's just to get a year of Paramount Plus for 30 quid. Like, even that one, they go, no, it's not worth it. Not worth it. But so those are the ones. I think we are going to see some more of the smaller ones. I think I'm surprised all the AMC kind of stuff like Shutter and like Acorn and all those kind of things can still happen. I don't know about Stars. I think Stars could be a bit hit, but I think we're definitely going to see some more closed next year. Kane says, when Chapek was CEO, it was all about trying to make the same amount of content as Netflix, but also as well, and this is I do think this is important to know with Chapek, is he was in charge during the pandemic. He literally got handed the keys by Bob Iger like 3 weeks before the world literally shut down. Iger kind of went, I see something coming, I'm out, here's the keys. And so he had to, and I think there's a lot of kind of like not really remembering how bad it was in 2020 where they were trying just, all the theme park. No one in the world could have imagined a point when every single Disney theme park was closed around the world, where all the cruise lines were closed, all the cinemas were closed. The only thing they had was streaming. So obviously they decided, we need to keep Wall Street happy because that's the only thing that's kind of engaging with customers. Matt says, if they're still running Disney Plus like it was in 2020, then Inside Out 2 would probably be added this week, but we know that they want to keep it exclusive. Yeah, I mean, it would have been, at one point we were a lot, like 30 to 40 days. It would have been out. Yeah, it would have already been on there. I think 3 to 4 months is fine. I think that's fine. I don't think it helps having. I think anything under 3 months undermines what they're doing. Caleb says, I remember Chapek greenlit so many streaming originals across the board. Hotstar was one of them, since Hotstar had made so many shows from 2021 to 23. Now it's smarter spending and quality control. That's it. It's all about quality control. It's all about just having less and better. And I think that is good. I think that's better in the long run. I think we'll get more shows. It's just very noticeable that there's a lot less to watch. I met with my parents yesterday. And my dad like, there's nothing to watch. I said, well, yeah, it's summer. There's a lot less to watch. I said, but the day, there's hundreds of less shows to watch each year now. Matt says, what do you think they're going to announce at D23? Well, I kind of went through most of that at the beginning. But just off the top of my head, I think we are going to see stuff for Snow White, Freaky Friday 2, Lion King, Moana live action. We'll probably see Lilo and Stitch, the Tiana series, Skeleton Crew, Wonder Man, Andor 2, maybe an update on Mando and Grogu. What else have we got? Daredevil Born Again. Maybe an update on Ironheart. and Pixar win or lose, and EO. That's kind of, I think that's my safe bet. You could throw in some surprises of like what, Toy Story, Zootopia 2, kind of things like that. Knoxway said, "Are you excited for Skeleton Crew?" Yes, I am really excited. I'm looking forward to this one because I think this one's going to appeal to me as a 80s kid that grew up on that kind of stuff, and getting Star Wars back to its core of being a show for kids or a product for kids. Just kids running. I think it looks like it's going to be fun and have that Goonies feel. I do think we're going to get the trailer next Friday. I think that's going to likely be the case. They might release it earlier in the day just to kind of spread it out a little bit, but I'm looking forward to Skeleton Crew. I know a lot of people are already upset because it's got kids in it and therefore they think it's for children, and it's like, yes. Did you watch Return of the Jedi? Did you watch the Ewoks movies? Did you watch Phantom Menace? Disney, George Lucas has said that their films are made for kids to sell toys. That's what Star Wars is. And now the thing is, you got people trying to turn Star Wars into this mature like show that it was never supposed to be. Knox says, "I'd like to attend to D23, but it was sold out and it was too expensive for tickets." Yeah, I mean, you can probably get the tickets for the main like the convention center. All right, it was the fact of when they added in the Honda Center tickets, the price just skyrocketed because if you wanted a decent seat, near the stage, you were looking at like thousands of dollars, which was really like, geesh. That was again part of the problem for like, if I'm spending, it's like, and I'll say this, one presentation in the main hall was obviously important for me for the showcase. The Parks panel would have been really exciting. The Legends panel, while it's great for being there in person and you get to see, I mean, I loved the last time because it was my first panel. I was about 3 rows back from the front. Literally, like, I'm sitting there thinking, there's Ellen, there's Grey's Anatomy and Blackish, and all the Frozen people are literally three rows in front of me. It was incredible. And I like looked at this year's tickets and like, whoa, that would have been like, they were like 2,500, 3,000. Not Matt. There's no way they're going to do a live action Bambi. No way. That is so not going to work. I think that one's way done. I think, but if you just want to get into the convention, even if you're in town, since you are in vacation there, and you could get a single ticket for a Friday or a Saturday, and you just want to go around the stall, see the stuff, I would do it in a heartbeat. But I think you're only allowed to pick like one panel to go to. I think you are going to have you might be able to get into, people might be able to get into the panels in the evening and late afternoon a little bit easier, because suddenly at like 4:00, a load of people then going to be making their way down to the conventions or down to the Honda Center, so it should empty out a little bit. As Matt said here, this whole thing of the ongoing issue for D23 is they don't have enough physical space to accommodate everyone. Even at the Honda Center, they still couldn't meet demand. The thing for me, which was one of my big problems, which on one hand I think fixes the problem. Again, you can get in there, you can get in, and more people can see the show. You've got a dedicated seat, so you're not having to sit there all night. I mean, last time, even though you didn't have dedicated seats and stuff, you got your slot, you still wanted to get in there and get a good spot. But now you know your seat, so there is no point in getting there 2 hours before and queuing up. You obviously got to get through security and all the rest of it. But like, if I was there now, you'd be like, right, okay, go back to the hotel, dump your stuff off, maybe have a quick shower, grab something to eat, and then head down. You're not worrying about like queuing up for 2-3 hours to try and get a good spot. My big problem for me personally, which is one of the big decisions of why D23 didn't work for me, was moving it to the Honda Center in the evenings actually was going to be almost impossible for me to kind of cover, because at the last time, I mean, I had the evenings and stuff to be able to like do videos and do articles and stuff. The simple truth was, with them moving into the evening, I wouldn't have had time to do that, because I would have been coming back and then it would have been like 11 o'clock at night. And the problem as well is I would have real bad jet lag. And so therefore my problem for that is my body clock would be telling me that, so I'd probably have to go back and have a nap, and which would be completely defeating the point of being there. Just being an old man now, I just was looking at it going, I don't think I can do it. I was just like, I don't think I can actually physically cover this event being there, because I'm not going to have any time to do it. And yeah, that was actually a big part of it. Was just like, when I put the pros and cons in of going, I don't know if this is going to work. So that's why I'm covering it from home. Big thank you to Bobatron for being a member for 37 months. That is fantastic. Thank you so much for that. What can we expect from the Warner Brothers Discovery Quarter 2 call? I would imagine they are going to talk up the hype of venue sports. They will hype up the Max thing with Hulu. Probably hype up the House of the Dragon. Try and come up with some cover story for how they've blown the NBA. Hype up some of the successes and stuff. Thank you very much, Derek. Thank you so much for your super chat. Thank you so much. This week you watched Deadpool 3 and I loved it and I enjoyed it until the end. And I can see Marvel doing more rated R films down the road. Totally. I think the thing is as well, which is interesting with Deadpool and Wolverine, is not the fact that it's just R-rated, but the fact that they were able to extend to a different audience, to keep the adults happy, to pull in enough people to make it worthwhile doing, and also allowing Marvel to be a little bit more mature and that it's not just for kids. The only trouble is now is it's then set the bar to the fact that people now are going to be you're going to have some adults that are going to be expecting all Marvel projects to be a bit more edgy. And I don't think that's necessarily going to be the case, but I think they're probably going to they might push it a little bit more. It's catch-22. They've got to be careful, obviously, with the kiddos, but you've also got to keep adult fans happy. But again, thank you so much for your super chat, Derek. That is amazing. Thank you so much for that support. Barbara Trying says, do you think Disney will make a Deadpool 4? I mean, Ryan, he did joke about the fact that he couldn't afford it because of his divorce if he had to do it. I think there will be another Deadpool movie. The amount of money that this thing is making, they're going to drop a ton of money onto Ryan's to go like, here you go. Please come back. I do think he might be back for Secret Wars anyway, but or at least for a cameo. But yeah, he's going to do another one. Might not be for 4 or 5 years, but I think he will be back. Actually, let's do a poll on that one. So 69% of you think there will be another D23 or another Disney Plus Day. Interesting. I definitely would have not gone with that one. I think that one's dead. Do you think there will be a Deadpool 4? Yes or no? Matt says, at least at the Honda Center, you know ahead of time if you're getting in those presentations compared to them line up overnight. And it's not good. Well, they didn't allow us to line up overnight last time because of the pandemic protocols. And also, there is that thing as well of being at a convention and having to spend so long in lines. It's exhausting. And if you're trying to lay out overnight to try and get in, it is... I think, it's fine if you are young and, and there's that kind of thing, if there's an excitement about it. But there are some legitimate problems of, hygiene, sleeping, sleep deprived and stuff like that. But also there is another big problem of if you are sat or if you are in a queue for 10 hours or 4 hours or whatever it is, you're not spending money. You're not going to the stands. You're not getting food. You're not buying drinks. You're not spending money. And I think that is one of the problems of that whole thing of, yeah, it has a big impact. Now, I think back to last year when I went to Star Wars Celebration, I was really lucky and I was a little bit jammy. As I was on the train going up to Star Wars Celebration, I only had a default ticket. And I managed to buy a last minute. And I said, when I say last minute, I literally wasn't, it was like the night before it started. I managed to buy a Jedi ticket, which basically meant I could get early access and I had guaranteed access to every single panel and I had guaranteed seating. And it completely changed my entire weekend's plan because suddenly then, I mean, I still had to queue up to get like good seats and obviously I wanted to get in there and get good stuff. But I literally could leave the main hall, go get something to eat, and it was a fight to get to it. And then I would then basically head back to the main hall again, queue up, and get back in again. I knew I could get in there, so I didn't have to wait for hours, but I'd at least go down like half an hour, 45 minutes early because it was so damn busy, you couldn't move around. But also what they did is it was great, is that they gave you like an hour or half an hour before to let you in before everybody else did. So what I could do is I could run in, grab the stuff that I wanted to buy for the day, and then I was done. So and we could leave it in a special room. So it worked out quite nicely. But yeah, it was a rather nice little bonus for that one. Matt says, do you think there'll be a free guide too? Apparently not. They did say that they aren't going to be doing one. Matt says, I was there at D23 and a lot of people still lined up on the streets overnight unofficially and then crept into the official line. There weren't any police dispersal. Well, right. Yeah, see, I was able to buy I was really, really lucky on the computer system when they went on sale that I did manage to get one of the master ones. I think it was about like $800. So I was able to get into the VIP, not in necessarily the VIP one, but I had a dedicated space you could go to. So I didn't have to worry about queuing up because I know I could get in, but I still got there like an hour and a half, 2 hours early to make sure I got a good spot. I shouldn't have really because I didn't really need to, but I just really wanted to have a good spot. And I think on the third day I realized that I didn't necessarily need to, but I wanted to be as close as possible, especially on that first day. And I'm really glad I did do that, where I was able to get that ticket because I have the view now. If I might never go to another D23. I might never do it again. And this is kind of a weird thing of like, if I never do it again, I did it. I enjoyed it. I loved it. It was one of those Disney experiences that I'm never, ever going to forget. For me, it's 6,000-7,000 miles away. For me, it was a once in a lifetime experience. And if I never go back, I will be happy with what I did. Star Wars Celebration, I've been lucky enough to go twice, but both times I went in London. Yeah, I mean, I did price up the Japan one. I was like, no, not worth it. And I actually don't think the Japan one is much good for me because I'm not going to be able to understand any of the Japanese presentations. But yeah, I'm not going to lie. I am extremely, I'm a little bit disappointed this week. I'm thinking a little bit like, I would say deflated, but there's that kind of part of me that goes, I really wish I was going. And this part of me says, it's not. So yeah, it's kind of a weird one. I've definitely get that feeling of missing out. It's like, I should have been going, but nevertheless. Okay, so I remember being in the live chat for the first time before the D23, and I asked 2 questions. Cool, thank you so much. Yeah, it was. I don't know if I was doing them as much then, but I do. It's one thing I really do enjoy doing the weekly Q&A. It's really nice just to kind of do a little bit more off the cuff stuff, and I don't have to do any editing, which is great. Matt says, when I saw Deadpool and Wolverine, there's plenty of parents with kids. So I suspect there are enough parents who don't care about bringing their kids to R-rated because it's Marvel. So this is a weird culture thing because here in the UK, it was a 15 rated, right? So before I actually went to the cinema, I had a text from View or an email from View and a notification through the app telling me I needed ID to go because it was a 15. It is against the law for View to allow an under 15 in the cinema to watch it. And they were checking people's IDs. And for some reason, they didn't check mine, and I didn't actually. I'd already parked up, and I was walking to it, and I'm going, I think they're probably going to think I'm over 15. I think I might be all right. Obviously, they didn't ID me. I mean, yeah, apparently these, I do look a bit over 15. So yes, it's a little bit different here. When the movie hits Disney Plus or anything like that, it'll be a little bit different, but it is a 15 certificate here in the UK. Works very, very different. Yeah, so I think that's the thing. But I did think a lot of ones went. So Noxo says, I'm going to go into Disney California Adventure in a few days. I heard there's a Pixar fan event, and have you tried the Lightning Lane Pass, and how did you use it? I will say, Noxo, are you on your own, or are you with a family? Because I did Lightning Lane or Fast Pass Plus or whatever they call it now. It was fantastic. In the morning, get in, get your ride. You do the ride, get on the next one. Get on the ride, do it. If you're getting there early, or if you're with your family, I think the question is, and this is going to be the big one, have you ever been to Disney California Adventure before? Are you going to be going back anytime soon? And can you afford it? If you've never been, and you might never go back to California again, or you might not be going back for 20, 30 years, and you can afford it, I would say do it. If you're a local, or you go to California every year or twice a year, I could say, like, yeah, you might not want to do it. But if this is a once in a lifetime holiday, I would. So you went back in 2021, so it might not be so bad, but I would definitely. I mean, it's that kind of thing. Like when I went, I hadn't been to Disney California Adventure before, and also I hadn't been to Disneyland in California for 20 years. So therefore, it was a bit along the lines of, sod it. I want to enjoy it. I really enjoyed using the Fast Pass Plus. Worked really well. I was able to jump on rides a lot quicker. It's going to be busy this week with D23. You're going to have a lot of people from out of town coming in. One day they might actually be quieter on the D23 days. I personally, if the queues are there, as far as the Lightning Lane where you pay the $20, I did it for Rise of Resistance, and I would do it like that in a heartbeat because it was fantastic. I would have done it for Cars. I wanted to do it for Cars, but at the time, the entire attraction broke down, and I went back 3 times, and it was broken every time, so I never got to ride it. But my plan was at the time I was just going to pay to do it and get on there. Again, it's the simple thing is time is money, and I think it's like this with parks of generals. If you are a regular and you're going all the time, you can afford to not. You have the time to be able to go there regularly and do it, and you don't need to worry. If you haven't been on an attraction and you've been on it 20 times before, going on it another time isn't really the end of the world. But if you're going there and you have never been there and you're never going to go back ever again, sometimes it's just along the lines of it's worth spending that extra $20 because, it's your time. It's that kind of catch-22. I know a lot of people don't like the idea of paid Fast Pass and all the rest of it, and I definitely agree with an aspect of that it's not fair and it's not right. But you got to take advantage of the situation. They've introduced it. It ain't going away. It's never going to go back. They're never going to start giving it away for free. It's your choice. But at the same time, if I was taking 6 of us and we were going to the park, suddenly that becomes very expensive. And again, if you haven't, it's that catch-22 of, and maybe if, say, like you are doing Lightning Lane and only 2 of you want to go on the big ride and the other 4 don't, then, that might be worth more doing and paying to do it. But you've got to look at it from the point of view of, again, that's the way I look at it is, I've seen a lot of people, that they're dead against paying for it. But if you're able to go to Orlando every year or every couple of times a year or something like that, you don't need to do it. It's like now, I wouldn't necessarily need a Fast Pass to go on Haunted Mansion, but I did when we were there because I wanted to do the Halloween version and I hadn't seen that. I'm just going to check I haven't missed any questions. Do you think there'll be a live action Bambi? Did that one? Again, so when I got back from Disney, there was a winter storm, and it was also in April, and it delayed our flight. Yeah, I think there's a lot of stuff that's been going on there. Do you think Disney will announce Monday Night Football will be on ESPN Plus more this season? I wouldn't be surprised if they do more Monday Night Football on ABC, because I think it worked really well. The NFL like it as well because they get more eyeballs, and probably more so like, I don't know if, like when the Bachelorette will finish. I'm just going to check I haven't missed any. Right. I'll try for the lightning. I mean, I think it's that kind of situation, Lockswave, if you're only there for a day and you can afford it, I would look into it. I mean, that's the way I think. Keenan says, when I went to Disney World in Orlando, I had a couple of fast passes for every park. And I think that's the other thing as well, is if you're going for, say, like you're there for like 2 weeks and you're going to be going to the park a couple of times over that time, then again, you've got that time factor to go. But I would, and like you say, you're only going for 1 day, make the most of it, have fun, spend less time in the queue. You are going to spend it, but you're going to be, Disneyland's going to cost you a fortune anyway. It's going to cost you a fortune. So yeah, enjoy it, have fun, spend less time in the queue. That's the way I look at it. That's probably I know a lot Disney, like people that don't like the Fast Pass Plus and want to get, it's never going to go back. You got to take advantage of these systems. And also, if you're staying, I don't know if you're staying at the park, because that was the great thing about Disney Plus Day, was you could get in half an hour early, and I was staying at the Paradise Pier, so I could get in. So I was able to get in and do a load of photographs and ride the Millennium Falcon before everyone got in. So it was great. Matt says, what do you think of the new Harry Potter TV series coming out? Don't really kind of get it, really, myself. I don't really think we need it. I wouldn't mind a Harry Potter series, and it was a new story, but I don't think just remaking the movies really is worth it. But there we go. Right. Okay. On that note, since we're out of questions, I think it's probably a good time to wrap up today's live stream. So again, I'll be back next week. So it'll be a full D23 recap. So that should be a lot of fun. That should be a lot of fun next week. So big thank you to Derek for your super chat. A big thank you for Matt for being a member for 30 months. Also, a big thank you to Bubba Trolling for being a member for 37 months. Again, thank you so much to everyone for supporting us. And again, if you ever do consider, just a couple of bucks a month, really would help. But even if you can't, just watching the videos, going to the website, anything like that really makes a huge, huge difference. And on that note, guys, thank you very much. See you guys soon. Laters.